Hello and thank you for joining us for the KREM 2 News Week in Review. I'm Cody Proctor. Each weekend, we walk you through the headlines from the past week in the Inland Northwest. Let's get started with one of the biggest news stories of the past few days.
The fear deeply escalated, and that included escalating the mood of the situation.
Strong words during the Office of Police Ombbuds Commission meeting. It's the first meeting of its kind since the June 11th anti-ICE protest. A chaotic night with inert smoke and pepper balls used by police, more than 30 arrests made, and the mayor declaring a state of emergency and a curfew. Days later, Spokane Mayor Lisa Brown announced the Office of Police Ombuds would conduct an independent investigation into the Spokane Police Department, looking into officers' actions that night to determine if their response was the right one. Just 24 hours after the announcement, another protest on June 14th also led to arrests and smoke used by police downtown outside River Park Square. Hadley Morrow took part in the protest and spoke at tonight's meeting.
And we really want to make sure that the police force is prepared to, hold our what is very legally justified and First Amendment protected outcry, and make sure that they're responding to us in a way that's not creating harm or putting people at risk.
She's one of several attendees who voiced their concerns about police actions were met with a crowd of protesters. It's feedback welcomed by Spokane Police Ombudsman Bart Logue. He says Murrow's input and others helps them piece together what happened so they can better access the response.
We need those complaints, if there are complaints, in order to get as much into the case file as there is.
It's a pressing issue for community members and the office. Spokane Police Chief Kevin Hall released a statement when the investigation was announced, emphasizing it being an opportunity for officers to practice continued learning and better improvement. As for Morrow, she hopes more protesters from that day reach out to the office with their concerns, hoping others don't go unnoticed.
If we're not translating that into official complaints to the ombuds, then there's a risk that that's not getting included in the investigation.
The office's executive assistant tells me a total of 22 people have submitted complaints about the June 11th protests so far. A total of 2 complained about the one on June 14th. They're advising anybody who wishes to voice their concerns to go to opo@spokanecity.org. They emphasize you can submit complaints anonymously. In Spokane, Connor McAvoy, KREM 2 News.
The countdown clock is ticking for the city of Spokane. In June, Shrek's board voted to sever its partnership with the city, setting a 6-month timer. Spokane will have to dispatch its own firefighters starting January 1st. City officials argue that's not long enough.
The state 911 office also recommends that we take 18 months to do so safely. We have, through our consultant, worked out a 14-month plan to kind of condense it, but that is if everything goes our way. And like I said, we're still in negotiations.
Communications Director Erin Hutt says the city, county, and Shrek are still discussing details like how to divvy up tax dollars. She says they also floated a transition plan to the county, but haven't yet heard back.
That includes our message that we need time to do this safely, and so potentially looking at ways to extend that period with Shrek if we can do so.
Hutt says the public should know they've agreed with Shrek on one thing. Public safety services will not change throughout this switch for 911 callers.
The public is our #1 priority in ensuring that their calls are still answered.
Meeting records and a letter from Spokane's police and fire chiefs show they've declined to use Shrek's records management and new computer dispatch system as they move toward an independent public safety answering point.
We've hired a consultant to provide recommendations on how to stand up and provide the structure for a city PSAP.
There's also talk of what to call the city's standalone operation.
I think I maybe have some questions about United as well, because I think part of the discussion here is that we're clearly separating from something, and so maybe United is a little, I don't know. But anyway, we got plenty of time to talk about that, I guess.
Though a decision on that won't come for at least a week. Shannon Mowdy, KREM 2 News.
As we go to break, here's a check of your forecast. Welcome back to the KREM 2 News Week in Review. Each weekend, we walk you through headlines from the past week in the inland Northwest. Well, right behind me, it is still an active scene as firefighters continue to mop up and investigate a house fire here in Spokane Valley that quickly turned into a 3-alarm fire. And according to one neighbor we spoke to, it's the largest response he's ever seen. Smoke could be seen both billowing from Spokane Valley's Glenview Circle from miles away and up close by neighbors, including Mark Lloyd, who lives only blocks away.
That was a big response, probably one of the biggest responses around in this area I've ever seen, and I've been here since 1969.
Spokane Valley Fire says the fire started just before 6 Monday night. It sparked in one home on the 11,700 block of Glenview Circle, spreading to a tree and then to the attic of the house next door. Fire crews upgraded the blaze to a second and then a third alarm within minutes. Spokane Valley Fire spokesperson Patrick Erickson says it's the first 3-alarm fire he's seen in his time at the department.
3 alarms adds even more resources when you have a structure fire that's spreading to another structure nearby and the potential to end up even further. You're going to add as many resources as you need.
Officials say a Spokane Valley firefighter went to a hospital for second-degree burns to his ears. No one else was hurt. Erickson says it's unclear where the people living in the homes will go. Lloyd says it's devastating to see a fire hit such a tight-knit street like this.
That area, I have some friends around in that area, and they all looked really, really sad to see 2 houses go up right in that little area there in that Glenview Circle.
Right now, the cause of the fire is still unknown, and we are still early in the investigation. In Spokane Valley, Cody Proctor, KREM 2 News.
Well, if you're ever in the West Plains near Hallett Road and you see this large building behind me, it's an off-site manufacturing building. What does that mean? Well, 110,000 pounds worth of cooling plants are being built right inside to then be shipped out across the country for AI data centers.
Spokane is entering a new age for advanced engineering and production. The McKinstry Company employs up to 600 people across the greater Spokane area, and this is one element of the supply chain boom that Spokane is a part of.
Spokane is a great place for us. A lot of skilled workers, a lot of skilled trades, and directly helps not only our manufacturing, but our installation capabilities. So being able to grow from a small workforce to over 600 out of this office with a significant amount of trades in the manufacturing facilities and on our installation teams.
Officials say the off-site manufacturing facility is especially important because the products being built inside rather than at a construction site decreases environment and product waste. Officials say sometimes up to 78%. Meaning, as the need for AI grows, the need for workers in Spokane will grow too.
The communications director of McKinstry told me that this is the second off-site manufacturing building built in Washington State. I'm reporting in the West Plains, Regan Gallo, KREM 2 News.
Governor Bob Ferguson says Washington will not be bullied by the feds and their threats. He says the state's values are at stake.
Let me be very clear. Washington State will not be bullied or intimidated by threats and legally baseless accusations.
Surrounded by state legislators, agency directors, even Seattle Mayor Bruce Harrell, Governor Bob Ferguson fired back at U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi.
Pam Bondi seems to believe that cavalierly citing criminal statutes and personally threatening me, a democratically elected governor, will result in compromising the values of my state. That is not going to happen.
Washington State in 2019 passed the Keep Washington Working Act, which prohibits state and local law enforcement from working with federal immigration officials. Last week, AG Bondi sent letters to state and local officials around the country, accusing them of policies and practices that impede federal immigration operations. Bondi's letter to Governor Ferguson said, quote, "Your jurisdiction has been identified as one that engages in sanctuary policies and practices that thwart federal immigration enforcement to the detriment of the interests of the United States. This ends now."
I'm Representative Julio Cortez, an immigrant and Vice Chair of the Latino Democratic Caucus.
Born in Mexico, State Representative Julio Cortez says the Washington law protects hardworking people in the state.
It ensures that when a parent drives their kid to school when a worker gets to their job site or when someone calls 911 in an emergency, that help will come without fear that help will come with handcuffs and deportation.
State Senator Lisa Wellman, the sponsor of the Keep Washington Working Act, says the state should play no role in immigration enforcement.
It is the responsibility of the federal government, who now just got how many billions of dollars more to do their job? Do your damn job and leave us the hell alone.
The state's Republican Party chair, State Representative Jim Walsh, said the governor is putting essential functions of state government at risk in order to perpetuate a foolish political fight. Walsh compared the Democrats' stance today as the Confederate Party's approach back during the Civil War. In Olympia, Drew Mickelson, King 5 News.
Thanks for joining KREM 2 News this weekend. I'm Cody Proctor. Right now, we're taking a look back at some of the news stories from the past week.
Well, right now, the Post Falls School District is leading the way in early reading across the state of Idaho through what's called the Idaho Reading Indicator. Parents are getting ready to send their kids back to the classroom, and when Aaron Butler does, it will be in a school district that is rewriting the story about childhood literacy in North Idaho.
When my son comes home and says, "Oh, I just took my big reading test and this is how I did," I can understand what he's talking about, what things he's working on, and be able to celebrate that with him.
Butler can celebrate because the Post Falls School District is turning the page on early literacy proficiency for grades kindergarten through 3rd.
So we're working on the 5 components of reading, every student, every day. And so phonemic awareness, phonics, vocabulary, comprehension, fluency, every kid, every day. And so by the end of the year, we were at 84.2% of our students proficient.
The data from the Idaho Department of Education shows that Post Falls School District is a leading school district with 84% of K through 3 grades reading at grade level. That's about 1,700 students in total.
The second year in a row of the biggest school districts in Idaho, Post Falls School District had the highest percentage of growth and proficiency on that spring IRI.
Anna Wilson, the district's deputy superintendent, told me the success is due to a few things: moving to full-time kindergarten, state-funded contracted literacy coaches who help teachers apply curriculum, and a 4-day school week has forced educators to be more intentional with less time in the classroom. Which is why I asked Butler about the importance of parent-teacher communication.
It's very much community, and we're working together a lot with the teachers and the school and the building to really create that relationship that helps kids succeed.
Other North Idaho school districts are not far behind. Coeur d'Alene, Lakeland Joint, Kootenai Independent, Lake Pend Oreille, and Moscow School District all range between 78 and 82% in reading proficiency.
If our little students can read, it will carry them all the way through their entire lives.
So for parents like Aaron Butler, there is a lot to look forward to for the kiddos as they explore the world through reading, both inside the classroom and out. And teachers are back to work in 1 week, with students returning to the classroom the day after Labor Day. I'm reporting in Post Falls, Regan Gallo, KREM 2 News.
Right behind me is North Summit Church here in Sandpoint. Just hours ago, hundreds of people came here to find out the most recent information about the Sunset Fire burning nearby. And there were so many people, they actually had to move locations. Close to 500 people crowded the rooms and hallways of Sandpoint's North Summit Church for Monday night's community meeting. Incident Commander Joe Sampson says he's not surprised by the turnout, especially with the amount of people impacted by the Sunset Fire.
There's currently about 250 residents in GO evacuation. There's more than 500 other residents in the set stage.
According to fire officials, the fire, located near Athol along Lake Pend Oreille, has burned more than 3,200 acres as of Monday night. Sampson says one thing making it tough for fire crews is the steep terrain and the fuels.
We're in North Idaho. It's heavy timber. There's a lot of fuels. We are in August. I would call this normal for mid to late August in North Idaho as far as fire behavior.
At last check, Sampson says the fires torched more than 20 structures,
6 of which were homes. To help fire crews, Selkirk Fire Chief Jeff Armstrong declared an open burning extinguishment order for the area impacted by the Sunset Fire, as well as areas under the ready evacuation level or higher. That means any fire considered to be open burning needs to be put out immediately, including campfires.
Extinguishment order will help keep the public from having to interface and interfere with our firefighters and their operations, even though it's inadvertent and not malicious.
While it's not clear when crews will get a handle on the fire, Sampson recommends people listen to evacuation orders and stay out of the area for both their safety and the safety of firefighters. Right now, the cause of the fire still remains under investigation. In Sandpoint, Cody Proctor, KREM 2 News.
Before we wrap up this edition of the KREM 2 News Week in Review, we have one more story you might have missed this past week.
A lot of customers depend on us for their daily meals.
Kroger says they're closing down their Fred Meyer in Kent's East Hill neighborhood, and that they're also closing a Fred Meyer in Everett in Casino Corner.
I've talked to quite a few of my coworkers. Some of them are scared, some of them are still in shock.
Kroger shared a statement saying due to a steady rise in theft and a challenging regulatory environment that adds significant costs, we can no longer make these stores financially viable. But UFCW 3000 union workers say they're worried about food access for their customers who may
spend more time and money trying to get everything that they need.
Both stores are in zip codes where household incomes rank far below the average for their respective counties.
And those locations aren't the only ones. Kroger recently announced the QFC in Mill Creek, behind me, and a Tacoma Fred Meyer are also being closed.
Jesse Jensen says he's really going to miss his neighborhood grocery store.
Would you say it's kind of a food desert over here?
It's going to be. I'm going to be forced to go to Safeway or Fred Meyer.
He says convenience is key.
I have no choice. I'm kind of stuck.
When it comes to putting food on the table.
I'd rather not go to the Fred Meyer up the hill. It's poor access, bad parking, and all that. I don't like going to Safeway either.
This June, Kroger did share that nationwide they'll be shutting down more than 60 stores, which Jensen now knows includes this one.
Very disappointed. It's been here for like 45 years, I believe.
Maddie White, King 5 News.
Long before the sun rose this morning, people lined up in their cars to be among the first customers of Ridgefield's InNOut new location.
I got here about 8:16 last night.
Dozens of people from far and wide camped out on sidewalks, in chairs, and in their cars outside, including Kevin Ken, the very first person in line.
I drove about 2 hours out of the Seattle Milton area. It's the only one in Washington State, and I'm born and raised Washingtonian, so I figured I'd call out for work for a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
For hours, traffic control organized the crowds while the Wells family tells KPW they were creating a core memory and picking out their favorite menu items.
My husband and the kids came by about 9 o'clock to do a little recon mission, and he saw that it was open, so we ended up being fourth in line.
The new location on Pioneer Street is fulfilling orders and helping the community's job market.
We have about 90 associates here working at this location. About 70 of them are from the local community, and actually we're not done hiring. We'll continue to hire after this.
2, 3. Store leaders opened the new location 2 hours ahead of schedule this morning for what some say was a worthwhile experience.
I'm like 15 minutes away now, so, call it great. But yeah, first to-go order from inside.
Accomplished. Proud of myself, and I'm about to go smack the rest of this down.
Thanks for joining us for the KREM 2 News Week in Review. Be sure to keep it here on KREM 2 for more news throughout the weekend. I'm Cody Proctor. Thanks for watching.